On the astral plane, every opinion inevitably becomes deed. Instead of dispute, opinions are left to battle it out themselves, and the more fruitful one will knock the other out of the ring. You can say that the astral world is a much more dangerous one, and some of what is said about such dangers is connected with what I have now described. Everything becomes deed there, and views have to battle with one another rather than discuss and argue. I will now touch on something that is shocking to hear in our materialistic age, but is nevertheless true. We have often stressed that in our era, people are increasingly immersing themselves in consciousness of a world that is merely physical, thus also in characteristically physical qualities, distinctive characteristics of the physical world. For instance, a world where, in discussion and dispute, each person feels like murdering another who does not share his view or regards him as an idiot. Things are not like that in the astral world. There a being will say, quote, "Other opinions do not bother me," close quote. The greatest tolerance exists there. If one view proves more fruitful, it will knock the others out of the ring. Other opinions can happily exist alongside one's own, since battle will sort it all out. If you gradually come to be at home in the world of spirit, you have to learn to judge things according to what is customary there. The first domain of the spiritual world is the astral, where what I have described is customary. Someone who comes to be at home in the spiritual world must, in a sense, make space in himself for the customs of the beings who live there. And this is the right thing to do. Our physical world should increasingly become a reflection of the spiritual world, and we will introduce ever more harmony into our world through accomplishing the following. Life in the physical world ought to unfold as it does in the astral world. Although we cannot build two churches in one spot, where views differ, we can allow their fruitfulness to interpenetrate in the world. The most fruitful or productive views will be victorious, as is the case in the astral world. Thus, within a universal spiritual stream, the distinctive qualities of the astral world can really reach down into the physical world. The spiritual scientific movement has a broad field to cultivate here, to create, increasingly, a reflection of the astral world on the physical plane. However shocking it may sound to people today who only acknowledge the physical plane, and can therefore only conceive of propounding one opinion and seeing anyone who has a different view as a fool, adherents of a spiritual worldview will find it increasingly self-evident for absolute inner tolerance of different views to prevail. This is not the sort of tolerance that arises in us like heeding a sermon, but something instead that will take up its natural place in our soul as we increasingly acquire the customs of the higher worlds. What has been described here, this interpenetrability, is a very important and key quality of the astral world. No being of the astral world will develop a concept of truth such as those we know here in the physical world. The beings of the astral world find debate, argument, and so forth to be entirely unproductive. They agree with Goethe that, quote, "fruitful things alone are true," close quote. We should not come to know truth through theoretical reflections, but through their productiveness, through the way in which they prove their value. One being of the astral world will, therefore, never dispute with another as people do, but will say, "Fine, you do your thing, I'll do mine. We will see which is the more productive idea, and which will knock the other out of the ring." If we engage with this way of thinking, we have already acquired some practical insight. We should not think that our developments into the spiritual world is accomplished in a tumultuous way, for actually it occurs subtly. And if we can attend carefully and acquire a quality such as the distinctive characteristic of the astral world I just described, we will increasingly come to regard feelings such as those possessed by astral beings as models for our own. If we allow ourselves to be guided by the character of the astral world, we can be hopeful of living our way upward toward the spiritual beings, whose life in this way will become increasingly apparent to us. It is this that will prove fruitful for human beings. What has been aired today aims in many respects to be a kind of preparation for the subject matter of the next 2 lectures. We will increasingly be able to show how the human being is basically a confluence of streams sent out by astral beings, as I have described, and focuses these streams within him around the central point of his I, capital. You see, the most important thing for human soul life is that we concentrate all these streams around a focal point which lies within our self-awareness. This self-awareness is so important in us since it must hold sway like a ruler in our inner human entelechy, encompassing and connecting the diverse streams that flow into us from all sides.